All right, red, blue, and magenta Loftus Party Nation. Michael Loftus is here, Skyping in from New York. What's happening, Michael Loftus?
It's a technological marvel. We're using science to make the world a better place.
It is science. You know, I'm not a boomer, right? Which is the slam of the week. But
Hey, boomer.
Hey, boomer. We kind of figured this out. But, hey, Gen Xer doesn't really sound that good. It just doesn't have the same, attacking feel.
How about hey, loser?
Hey, loser. I'm actually a cusper. I'm two sides. I'm like 3 years into Gen X, so I claim it. I lay my flag. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bullet Points. Michael, give us your intro.
We've got the fastest 17 minutes on the internet. I think we've got 4 subjects and a wild card tonight. We're back to the old formula. Judd Dunning. What's bullet point number 1?
Well, first of all, I just want to interject to let everyone know you're not in jail. This is a hotel room in New York.
Sure, we'll call it that.
All right. Bullet point number 1, Michael Loftus, is Trump takes on the homeless.
Boom. Bullet point number 2.
Give me some stuff there. Thank you very much. Bullet point number 2, Obama says that the left has gone too far left.
That's
Who would
insane.
have thunk it?
Maybe everyone on the planet.
Exactly.
Bullet point number 3.
Bullet point number 3, Attorney General Barr accuses Democrats of a war on Trump.
That's a big one. Bullet point number 4.
Bullet point number 4, we get down to the, excuse me, it's sex ed time with your favorite tranny, Bill. I don't know his name, and we're going to talk about this week's online sex ed course for all of our American youth.
All right.
Wait, I have one more. I went too far. I have a bullet point number 5. And
lay it
6,
on me.
actually. Bullet point number, well, you can choose. We'll make it New York option, East Coast, West Coast. What's up? You can choose either the whistleblower, Eric Ciramelli, or Trump is going to impeach on the Hill, according to Nancy in his tweets today.
I think we'll go with a little whistleblower action. We're going to get into the whistleblower.
Right. Okay.
Because Trump's never going to testify.
Exactly. Why would he? And then we have a wild card.
I love it. So let's go. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock. Is it 2 minutes? 2 minutes
on the clock, producer.
All right, and let's jump in to bullet point number 1, which is God knows what. I've already forgotten.
Bullet point number 1 is Trump takes on the homeless. So after a couple weeks, I'll jump in after months and months of jumping on San Francisco and then coming into the National, calling it a disgrace. He lets go of Matthew Doherty this week, right when he's going to do his push. The question is, was he hindering himself? Was he clearing the way? Obviously, big corporate Trump, with his business-like execution, was not happy with our affront for the serious problem with the mental health and the drug issues of the homeless. Michael Loftus, you're in New York. Tell us what it's like.
You know what? Where I am, maybe it's because it's winter. I'm not seeing the homeless like I was in L.A. The homeless population in L.A. seems to be huge compared to New York. However, they're everywhere. I'm going to go like hardcore libertarian on this one. I don't want the federal government having a department of the homeless, because, and that's pretty much what it is. I don't know what the actual department's name is, but once the government jumps in to start helping something, then it becomes, okay, we got to generate tax revenue, and then people don't get helped. Already California has a boatload of money. They're not spending on the problem. They're not doing anything. So Trump can fire the guy. I think they should just shut down the entire, it's not a one size fits all. This is not a federal government problem. This is a state problem. States have to fix it.
Yeah. My wife said, I think we should start a program. Let's adopt the homeless. And I'm like, well, what do we do next? What are we going to do next after we adopt them, darling? I was a really compassionate thing, but I think what was amazing, Michael Loftus, it's a great name, I'm going to abuse it, is how the Texas governor came down to Austin, cleared out all under the bridges, cleaned out the whole town, but he immediately was building a huge encampment of emergency housing to address the issue, even tents. So once again, I'll go to my wife's wisdom today on the show. We'll footnote her, but she wouldn't like that actually. But she made up a great point. It is still illegal to be on the street without your meds and be in a psychologically dangerous position. It's illegal to do drugs.
Yeah.
So how do we address that?
Well, it used to be. Now you've got this new guy in charge up in San Francisco saying that he's not going to prosecute like these harmless crimes, like going to the bathroom in the street and in like prostitution and stuff. So it very well might be legal to shoot up in the middle of the streets. It's a multifaceted problem. You've got drug addiction, you got mental health issues, and then you just have your good old-fashioned, I hate society and I want to live on, you got those people. We used to call them hermits back in the day, but you got to get active. We got to get the people who need meds, their meds. The people who need mental health, they got to get help. We got to go at it from all angles, and you got to make it. You can't camp on the sidewalk. I think we got to go back to those days.
It's all fun and games until you get cholera from feces, I always say.
My grandmother used to say that too.
I think I am actually quoting the old matron of the Loftus clan. Here we go, a little more homeless people. And on to our next topic. Thank you, Ava Jones from Austin. Great, we're really glad to have her here. All right, so moving on, Michael. I'll set it up. You bring it home, young buck.
All righty.
You anti-boomer. So we have Obama coming out in his recent speech saying, hey, the left has gone too far left. Even as we push the envelope, we've gone too far. And then we have AOC coming back quickly saying, hey, I want us to be the party of the New Deal again. She says, we want to be the party of the Civil Rights Act, the one that electrified this nation and fights for all people. So, I think we have this schism in the left that we always saw was coming. What do you think, Michael?
Here's the deal. AOC hasn't been to the secret meetings. Right now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's addicted to fame. She should probably go to Obama's house and see what the real plan is. Here's the deal. Obama's saying that they're going too far to the left because they're doing it too fast. They're doing it too fast. There's a thing that everybody can Google. Look up the Fabian Society. The Fabian Society has been around since like the 1800s, and their whole mission is to slowly and surely turn England and the United States into a socialist, communist country. And the thing is, you want this is what Obama's plan is. Slow, steady, methodical change. If you go too fast, people go, wait, hold on, and they become aware of the trick. So it's very actually frightening, I think, that Obama's like, hey, slow down, you're going too fast, because they've tipped their hand. We know that they're fundamentally trying to change America.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And I have to say, with all your time on Fox News, you're getting so bullet pointed. You're bullet pointing bullet points with your time in the big leagues, buddy. Your sound bites are getting tighter and tighter and tighter and funnier. There must be a lot of pressure at the top.
It's crazy. That's all I do is lay awake at night and think about how can I put a bullet point in a bullet point, wrapping it in a bullet point.
I want to get a teleprompter to raise your stress level and just put it in your ear and go, no. I mean, it must be amazing. Well, so, we have to hear about that later in the show. Yeah, I think, look, we've all saw this coming, and it was interesting. His name is, what was his name? Peter Dow came out and immediately said, Hillary's campaign manager, scolding Obama publicly. So you have Hillary's camp splitting. Everybody's just, cannibalizing themselves. I mean, the point is I think Obama did something wise. He said, hey, if you want to have a chance at winning this election, get back to some moderation. I'd love to see a moderate candidate. I just don't see anyone. Power to the people. I want to be the party of civil rights. So, I think we've all seen this coming. I think it's fantastic. If Obama is thinking we've gone too left after transforming America fundamentally, wow.
He just thinks they're going too fast. He just thinks they're going too fast. If you go too fast, people see the trick. Now we see it.
Indeed,
All right.
indeed.
Bullet point number three.
Number three, thanks for calling the shots. The bullet shot. Okay, so we're into the Bill Barr moment. So Bill Barr at his Federalist Society came out, said there's a war on the duly elected government, and what he pointed out is that right now we have we have a role in the executive branch. We're continuing to. I loved what he said here. The fact of the matter is that in a waging scorched earth, no holds bar war of resistance against the administration, it is the left that is engaged in systematic shredding of the norms of undermining the rule of law, as he told his audience. I think Bill Barr continues to hold a great stance on what's been going on the left. And, you know, who is Bill Barr? I mean, what is he seeing? We all see our views of the Russia investigation. We all see what we are hearing about the Ukraine. Why is he standing so firmly behind Trump? I think he's on the inside. He's seeing the rationality of his long list of achievements. And I think this AG is probably he's being considered one of the most politicized, when I think he's probably one of the least politicized guys we've had in the AG role in some time. So, Michael?
Yeah. The left has to do everything they can to try to knock him down and make him seem like some kind of wacky conspiracy theorist. But yet he is. You're absolutely right. He's on the inside. He's seeing the reports. And right now, let's not forget, this is now going to a grand jury. They can do criminal indictments. They can do subpoenas. And now it's just a question of timing. When is the shizzle going to hit the fan-izzle?
Yeah,
because it's coming. Who was behind the FISA abuse? Who was? I want them to. We're going to name names. We're going to find out what really happened. And look at what Adam Schiff, that guy, he just gave a speech to the Democratic Party the other day where he's like, 2 years ago, I asked you to do everything you could to resist. I asked you to join me, and we're going to send Donald Trump back to that goal. So this has been going on constant, nonstop since before Trump was elected. And you do have non-elected bureaucrats in the FBI and the CIA and the intelligence agencies and Lord knows what. And to quote my good friend Chuck Schumer, you go after these guys, they can come get you 16 ways to Sunday.
Yeah. Are you and Schum? Or I mean, awesome.
That's what Schumer famously said.
Yeah.
You know, that if you go after the deep state, you go after these, you go after the swamp, they got 16 ways to Sunday to get you. So,
if I can end this thought, there was an amazing article on Trump that just came out on Zero Hedge. I sent it to you the other night if you got a chance to read it. But they talked about who is Trump really? What is he taking on? That there's military, like it's a hijacking the military. The way he's pulling in and out of the military is because the actual system itself makes a lot of our decisions. It's been hijacked for a long time, as has the Fed, as has the banking, as has trade. So everybody thinks he's being erratic, but what he's doing is playing a game to kind of blow out the traditional systems in order to achieve policy, because the executive branch has lost power over people like the Fabian Institute, Open Society, and a mirror, what some people would call the cabal. So Is the cabal the swamp? It may be, and if it is, Lord help us. I hope he gets another 4 years. So I think the next turn is where we'll really see him start to take even greater risks.
I agree. What's our next bullet point, Judd Dunning?
Call the shot. Thank you, producer Jones. All right, so
I like how the producer
Jones is her anonymous name because Michael and I, there's no future leading movies in Hollywood. We're pretty much just in conservative media the rest of our lives, right? I mean,
speak for yourself, man. I'm doing all kinds of stuff.
All right, Michael is available to hire and disregard all of my comments about my failed career. Well, I was on The Young and the Restless, so I had my moment in the light. All right, so moving on to the sex ed school. This is a big one. I personally, look, once again, America is the bastion of freedom and rights. Since the DOMA Act came out and we said, hey, you know what? We're willing, regardless of the split on the opinion, we are willing to have a system where people, there will be no institutionalized ism, racism, sexism, etc. And we don't. We don't, but at the same time, the trans community is being a special protected class, as Sewell would say so well, has a lot of influence. And now, if you saw the video, you did see the video. We have, we have a push in education for very young kids. And if you look at the age of, this is a woman who converted here, who is talking to really young kids about, I only show my private parts to certain people, if they're in my pants. I mean, that is said, right? So for me, I'm a little uncomfortable because I think the sensitivity of gender identity and adolescent angst is so intense. Kids commit suicide, they get involved in drugs. It feels like maybe we're confusing a table that has a pretty much X and Y answer, although I still acknowledge the rights of somebody to be a transgender. Most people project this stuff at us as conservatives saying, oh, we think this, it's not that, but at what point do we protect the kids from that? And what were your thoughts about the video?
Well, my only beef with this whole thing is don't do this to kids. Yeah. Like this is not an issue for children. This is an issue that can at least wait until you're 18. At least. You want to do this in college, that's fine. But like when you start rolling up on like a 9, 10, 11-year-old going, yeah, I had my breast chopped off because I wanted to be a man. That's just, listen, man, I'm trying to watch SpongeBob, right? I'm not in the world of chopping off body parts and turning wieners into vaginas. I just don't like, I don't even want my kid to hear about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing, I don't like the drag queens in libraries doing book time. I don't think this has any spot. I think this is in Canada where this happened, but God help the Canadians and their black-faced prime minister. I don't know what they're doing.
I was surfing the other day and I had a ton of sunscreen on, and I was worried. I felt uncomfortable as a white man in whiteface. That's how bad it's got. I'm like, is this okay? Is this okay? So I'm gonna go pink. God. I'm gonna go 80s. I'm gonna go 80s next time. I'm gonna just go pink, or we are in a crazy politically correct society. So how's it going over there in is it cold? Is it cold right now?
Are we taking a break? Are we doing like promo time?
We're still going. I'm just reading the room.
Okay.
Moving on.
It's freezing. It's freezing. And it rains all day and it's cloudy. It's horrible.
This is a bullet point segue. It's point 4.2. Sorry. Okay, I'm back in line. The producer has me in line. Okay. I will march forward. Here we go. Okay, ready? Moving on.
Bullet point number 5.
5. Before we get to 5, a little bit more video action. There we go. This was the Drag Queen Day, which you just referred to.
Yeah.
And okay, bullet point number 5. We are talking about the whistleblower, Michael Loftus. I'm sure you know a lot about this being on the news recently. George Soros, the Open Society, Ciaramelli, how he's attached to Biden, how he's attached to the left. What are your thoughts on the whistleblower?
Well, he has to be protected at all costs. At all costs. Not because his life is being threatened, but because people like you and I will find out, yeah, he's CC'd on emails with George Soros. He was, working for Joe Biden. He was in Ukraine. He is the ultimate insider. And with secondhand information, this whole impeachment thing, if you ask me, is what they call fruit of the poison tree. You can't, this whistleblower and it's funny how much the left cares about this whistleblower, right? Like, oh, this guy's got to be protected. But when someone at ABC News was like, hey, I'm a whistleblower, they squashed a story about Jeffrey Epstein. Boy, they found that person like the next day and had him fired from CBS.
Right. You like that? Sorry, I'm listening and using emojis. I have that capacity.
I don't think you can do both at the same time, Judd.
You suck. I suck. It's true. It's in. No, I think continue your point.
No, that was it. I think the whole thing is a horrible joke. There's no crime. There's no quid pro quo. There's no bribery. There's no flipping anything there. And so I want to know, I want everything out about this whistleblower. I want to know his motivations because they don't look good.
Well, I think the thing that we're going to find out, hopefully through Barr and Trump, with the due process of law, if not obfuscated by all these distractions, is that it's tied into Ukraine through Soros. It's tied into FISA. It's tied into Steele. I mean, is America so blindfolded after the Mueller report, after the Electoral College, to ride along? But it really seems like with the power of media, a lot of people are willing to take the ride with polls saying 50% don't want Trump. Well, the problem is 42% didn't want Trump anyway before. It's not that big of a shift.
Yeah, and I tell you, here's one benefit to living on the East Coast right now. I can watch Morning Joe every day. I flip back and forth between Fox and MSNBC. And if you watch Morning Joe, it is the end of the world. And Trump is guilty as sin. And they make it sound like he should be locked up today. And they take quotes out of context and they don't do the full quote. It's so misleading as to be criminal.
That show has an immense political power. It's crazy for sure. Okay, time for promo time. Promo time. Michael Loftus, you're in New York. I've missed you. Why don't you tell our great fans what you've been doing now that we're at episode 45. We're almost at a year. We took a short break. I was able to get some stuff done. You're working in your one of your core professions. What's going on?
I'm writing for a new TV show. And we haven't landed on the title yet, but it will be announced here. So that's kind of exciting. It's a new situation comedy. Here's the big news. The Freedom to Laugh tour is going to be at the Chicago Improv on Sunday, November 24th. And we will be filming a special for Fox Nation, the streaming service.
Is that going to Oh, great. What's the date?
November 24th, Sunday, November 24th.
Wonderful. What venue?
The Chicago Improv.
Oh, great. I have to digress. I'm doing a real estate deal in Chicago, and I have to go see the property, and I know where I'm going to be.
Are you going to be out there that weekend?
I'll make it happen. I'm doing something in North Lake and Aurora in my other thing that I do in real estate. And I'm going to come in. I'll come in.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, but we have to stay at the Soho House. It's for you Chicagoites. That place is awesome. Okay, good. Right. We'll talk.
And then I understand you have some news about a book.
Oh, I wish you were local for this one because I'd make you hug me, man. I'd make you hug me. So a year ago, see my father, to talk about our journey as conservatives. We did 2 or 3 seasons of Conservatively Unplugged. We did Judd Dunning Unplugged. And I had the great honor of working with you, Michael. It's been a wonderful year. Really enjoyed this show. I'm sure it's going to take off in time. We went up to a cabin in North Carolina. And I just said, I've got to write this. And I had done a Politicon panel called 13 Reasons Why, as a bunch of you know from our book. And I locked myself in the cabin with a crazy, wonderful writer by the name of Eric Golub. And I wanted to get down our 13 reasons why. And finally, so what happened is we joke about it on the show, but the Green New Deal was so jarring to me in the climate world. And then the New York and Virginia abortion laws, I kind of froze up. And then I hired a high intellectual from the Millennial Institute to attack everything in the book. And we just literally 2 hours ago, we were done with the book, went to, it's going to footnotes, and we're really happy with it. It is an intellectual, philosophical, religious, factual history treatise on all the core reasons to be a liberal or to be a conservative. And then we have like a bare knuckles kind of argument section in each chapter. So we got it done.
I think it's awesome, dude, and I really, really congratulate you. I couldn't be happier for you. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You finished the book.
I just want to thank Bullet Points for the weekly shame of when I was in writer's block. Michael Loftus, you're personally thanked in the front and the back of the book for the pressure that you put on me by.
Here's a funny little side note about literature. There used to be a club of professors and authors that hung out. C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. And C.S. Lewis would show up. They met once a week, and you'd have to bring what you had written. And J.R.R. Tolkien never brought anything. He always like, oh, I forgot it. I left it. And C.S. Lewis is like, dude, I'm calling you out. I don't think you've written anything. You have to show up. And that's how The Hobbit got written.
Wow.
So maybe you just wrote like the next Lord of the Rings.
I have one fact I walk with. I heard Louis L'Amour, the great Western writer, was rejected 274 times. So I'm going to submit it 275 times in the current climate, and then if not, we'll self-publish. That's the way we're going to do. So before we move on to our wild card, tell us about. We saw you on Watters World so you've been doing Fox and Friends recently. What's been going on over at Fox?
Well, the other wonderful thing about living in New York is not only do you get to watch Morning Joe, you get to be on Fox News now that I'm settled into the job and they know that I'm close by. I can zip in and I can do a lot more shows. Like in LA, it would always be a satellite. So now, knock on wood, I've been on Fox and Friends a couple times. I just did Jesse Watters' show. Ran into Greg Gutfeld. He's like, hey, I want to have you on my show. So hopefully the poor viewers of America will be stuck with my ugly mug at least a couple more times.
Look, when my wife's mother is calling me live when you're on the show, I think it's out there. I think it's out there because she doesn't call.
Oh, and I'll be co-hosting the 5 again in December.
Oh, great! Congratulations.
Well, we'll see. I always feel like I'm about to get fired.
Listen, let me just tell you, you know what, Michael? You're an important voice. You're a rational, humorous, rational guy. I want to use that twice. And
then I suddenly stand up and you find out I'm not wearing pants.
Yeah, I like that. That's true. You don't even have to wear pants now. Exactly. And you can probably smoke below the seat. All right, so moving on to our wild card. Thank you so much. So this is pretty interesting. You and I, we're closet geeks. I don't know how deep we stay in that closet, but I don't know if you saw WikiLeaks. Now, everybody talks about how you have did the moon landing take place, right? That's the big conspiracy that we hear. Well, I think this takes it to another level because this cable that came out talks about Russia going up to the moon and blowing up our base. So, I mean, I think that's fascinating. I mean, WikiLeaks is, Freedom of Information Act. They're pretty interesting. I wonder if that was propaganda that we were saying we had a base. I don't know, but I don't know if you read about that. Your thoughts?
Well, the WikiLeaks, I think, was just the transmission, right? That somebody said that they had destroyed UR, which I have to think is the Soviet Union, Russia. Right. What's the exact quote?
Report that the UR destroyed the secret U.S. base on the moon.
Yes. Yeah. So they could have done it with a missile. They could have done it with a laser. Probably not back in '79, but that's the year that this happens. Now we went up to the moon a lot. And who's to say that, and this is the way that I've always thought they should do it, you can't just build a base all at once. You have to drop off component after component after component, and then you have your building blocks. So there might be something to this. We might have left I know we left a car up there. We left some other hardware up there. Who knows? Maybe we had the building blocks for a base, and maybe the Ruskies took it out. Those bastards.
Right. You got to think about like Apollo 13, right? I mean, they come back in that little tiny tin shell that is hot as fire, shaking and rumbling. I mean, it had to be unnerving to get up there and hey, let's bring some parts at that point. But they could have done it. And the space shuttle was up there a lot. Things could have departed and gone down. Well, not then, but that was later on. So which else is interesting, it just came out though, but we are actually going to do the European United Space Agency, or EASU, this is a mock-up. It looks like it's going to be a kind of an Adobe style. I would do something a little more modern on the moon if it was me. But this is their new. I don't know if there's a reason to hide it like a pimple or a mole in the fabric of the moon, but that's their new model.
Judd, I've given this a lot of thought. The great thing about going underground is you don't have to build walls or a ceiling. You just you go in. So that's probably like an artist's rendition, and that's why I always thought like Elon Musk. He just came out with a new rocket today that can take bigger payloads. And if you could get one, he's got that boring machine. You take one of those boring machines up there, you just start drilling little cities. Everybody lives in a tube
underneath the ground. So we're like we're the groundhogs of the moon.
Well, you have to be, because there's no atmosphere. There's nothing. If a meteor hits, you don't want to be on the surface. You'll die.
You're dead on. Why would you haul up rafters and framing if you could just build into the moon? Man, every week, I'm amazed. I learned something with the great Michael Loftus.
I'm a super geek for this stuff. I'm a super geek.
Right on. So here we are. So I just want to say to all of our people who have been captured, we're back. We took a little break while Michael took off. I finished the book. We're going to be back every week. We'll be doing our show at least Wednesdays. We'll see if we get back to Tuesdays. We're working on our technology. We wanted to do kind of more of a One American Newsmax broadcast here this time. But technology will improve.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe I'll be back in studio next week.
Okay. All right. Woo-hoo! All right. Well, Michael, give us your sign off, and it's great to have you back on our show.
It's great. God bless you. Congratulations on the book. This is Bullet Points. We'll see you next time. And who knows? We might even throw in a single shot.